Steps to control population in India. The government of India, politicians, policymakers should initiate a bold population policy so that the economic growth of a country can keep pace with the demand of growing population. So, increasing welfare and status of women and girls, spread of education, ಹೇಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೇಳಕತ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ, and increasing awareness for the use of contraceptive and family planning methods. Sex education, encouraging male sterilization and spacing births, free distribution of contraceptive and condoms among the poor, encouraging female empowerment, more health care centers for the poor, to name a few, can play a major role in controlling the population. Resettlement and rehabilitation of project affected persons. Okay, displacement of people in India is largely triggered by factors such as development project, political conflicts, displacement of the peoples ಯಾಕಾಕೈತಿ. The major reasons are development of project, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು political conflicts, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ರೀಸನ್ನು, setting up protected area networks and conservation areas, and natural disasters amongst the others. The latest data in the world, the latest data in the website of Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, IDMC ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, show that least 616,140 have been internally displaced in India due to various conflicts as of April 2015. The figure for people displaced due to disaster is at least 3,42,000, and there are about 11,042 politics refugees originating from country as of January 2014. See, what is the rehabilitation and resettlement ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನದರ ಅರ್ಥ? Rehabilitation ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the action of restoring someone to former privileges or reputation after period of disfavor. That is called rehabilitation. Next one is resettlement. The settlement of people in the different place. ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ರೀಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತಾರ ರೀಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೇನು ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವು? ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ involuntarily generally give rise to severe economic, social, environmental problems. Okay, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರ. ನಾನು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಎ ಬಿ ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಅದಾವ, ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದನೇದ್ದು ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ. ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದು, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಎ. ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಸರ್ವಾಯರ್, forestry production project, okay, industrial plants, irrigation, drainage and flood control, land clearance and leveling, mineral development including oil and gas, port and harbor development. Next one, river basin development, thermal and hydropower development, manufacture, transportation, and use of pesticides or other hazardous and or toxic materials. These are category A projects. Category B, what it is? Agro industries. Small scale industries andre agro industries andre small scale industries. Electrical transmission. Electrical transmission, aquaculture ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಿಶರಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, and marine culture ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಮರೈನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಇದು ಅಕ್ವಾಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಕ್ವಾಟಿಕ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವು. ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್, ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್, renewable energy, rural electrification, tourism, rural water supply and sanitation, watershed projects, magnetic management or rehabilitation, maintenance, upgrading projects. Category C. ಈಗ ಎ ಆಯಿತು, ಬಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಈಗ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ category C, that is education, family planning, health, nutrition, institutional development, technical assistance, most human resource projects. 5 settlement type ಯಾವ್ಯಾವು? Involunteers resettlement, new and land settlement, induced development, indigenous peoples, cultural property. Next comes disaster managements. There are varieties of disasters now. They are floods, earthquakes, cyclones, and landslides. Usually, in every season, we can see the variety of these disaster management. Disaster is a sudden, ಅದೇನು pre-planned ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. Climate variation ಗೆ disaster start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Climate is event and that seriously disrupt the functioning of community or society and causes human, material, and economic or environmental loss that exceed the community or a society's ability to cope using its own resource. Disaster meaning ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. The Disaster Management Act, that is 2005, defines disaster as a catastrophic calamity or a grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or man-made causes or negligence which results substantial loss of life or human suffering or damage to and destruction of property or damage to or degradation of. Next, types of disasters, what they are. ಒಂದೊಂದೊಂದೊಂದು ನೋಡೋಣ. These disasters can be geophysical. Geophysical ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? For example, earthquake, landslide, tsunami and volcanic activity. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ geophysical. Next one, hydrological, avalanches and floods. Next, climatology. Climatology, that is extreme temperature, drought and wildfires. Okay, that is known as climatological. Next one, meteorological. Meteorological andra cyclones, storm, wave surges. These are all examples of meteorological. Biological example, disease, epidemic, and insects, animal plague. Next comes man-made disasters. Natural jug disasters ಅದಾವು ಮತ್ತು ಇವು man-made disasters ಅದಾವು. Man-made disasters as viewed by International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent societies are events that are caused by human which in our close human settlement. These can include environmental degradation, pollution, and accidents. Next one, man-made disaster ಆಯ್ತಾ ಈಗ complex emergencies. Complex emergency means what? Food insecurity, epidemic, armed conflicts, displaced populations, extensive violence, and displacement of population, loss of life. Fourth one, pandemic emergencies. These emergencies involve sudden onset of contagious disease that affects health but also disrupts services and business, bringing economic and social cost. Disaster management ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. Disaster management can be defined as the organization and management and responsibility for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies, particular preparedness, response, and recovery in order to lessen the impact of disasters. NDMA is operationally organized into the following divisions. ಹಿಂಗ್ ಏನ್ divisions ಮಾಡೈತಿ? Policy and planning, first one. Second one is mitigation, operations and communication, administration, capacity building. Some of the case studies now we have to study. That is NDRF, first one, the National Disaster Response Force, specialized force constitute for the purpose of specialist response to threatening the disaster situation under Disaster Management Act 2005. Chairman of NDMA is the Prime Minister. We also celebrate the International Day of Disaster Eradication. It is 1989. The General Assembly of United designated the date of October 13 as the International Day for Disaster Reduction to promote a global culture of risk awareness and disaster reduction, including prevention and mitigation. Next one is floods. Flooding occurs when an extreme volume of water is carried by the rivers, creeks, and many other geographical features into areas where the water cannot be drained adequately. India witnessed flood due to extensive rainwater when results overflow of rivers, lakes, dams witness many of the largest and most catastrophic floods, causing irreparable damage to people's livelihood. See, we'll just study some of the examples so that you can understand aram se. What are types of loss of types of loss from floods? Floods le ಎಂತೆಂಥ type loss ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? Can can the lost item be brought and sold for money? Direct loss. Loss from contact with the flood water. Indirect loss. No contract. Loss consequence of flood water. Next one S. Monetary tangible. No buildings can contain vehicles, livestock, crops, infrastructure. Example description how to transport loss of value added in commerce and business interruption. Legal cost associated with the lawsuits. No non-monetary monetary intangibles. For example, lives and injuries, loss of memorability, damaged cultural or heritage cities, ecological damage it is. Example, stress and anxiety, disruption to living, loss of community, loss of cultural and environmental sites, ecosystem, resources, loss. Next comes earthquake.